Bags down, spikes on. Welcome to the track. Hi, my name is Colin Weitzman. I'm going to be your host for this episode of Track World News presented by the Harrier. And today we have a very special guest joining us. She is a national champion in the women's high jump outdoors, runner-up in indoors for track and field, coming out of USC, that's University of South Carolina, high jumper, Rachel Glenn. Rachel, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
No issues. Glad to have you here. And so we have to preface it's USC for South Carolina because it'd be many people probably hearing where you're from would think you'd be going to the other USC across the country because you being from California. How did you hear about the Gamecocks over in South Carolina? Because it's usually not the first thing you'd think of, I'm sure, being on the West Coast.
I actually heard it first from my track coach in high school. We had an alum who went there, Lashonda Demas. She went to USC. So at first, I wasn't even thinking about South Carolina. I was like, South Carolina, why would I go out there? That's so far, da da da. But then they showed me all his stats and the records, and then I decided to take a visit when they came to do a home visit for me. So then I was like, okay, let me check it out. And then my visit was so much fun. I had a great time. Like the people that were there, they made it really fun. So I was like, okay, might go there.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome place to be, and I've been down to South Carolina a few times for whether it's going to a Clemson game or whatever it is, and people in South Carolina can be super nice. That Southern hospitality too, so
Yeah.
gives you a completely different be a completely different feel from over there in Cali. So before we get started talking about some track stuff, had some questions for you. So you're from Long Beach, California, a lot of celebrities from there. And so I've got 4 celebrities. I want you to rank them for celebrities born in your hometown. So 1, we have Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
2, we have Frank Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
3, we have Jeanette McCurdy. So that's Sam from iCarly, for those that don't know. And then 4, we have Russell Westbrook. So can we get a top 4 ranking of Long Beach legends there for you?
Okay, I want to say 1, Snoop Dogg, because Snoop Dogg is just legendary. And I follow him on Instagram, and he be posting the funniest memes. They're hilarious. Oh my gosh. And then I listen to some of his music too. 2, I want to say it's either a tie between Russell and Frank. I do listen to Frank more than I keep up stats on Russell. I don't really watch football a lot. But okay, I want to say Frank goes 2 because I do keep tabs on him more than Russell. So then Russell will be 3rd. And then I'm going to have to put Jeanette 4th. I love her though. I grew up on iCarly, but she would be 4th.
Gotcha. I was a big iCarly fan too as a kid, but it's tough when you're going up against them. I mean,
Right.
were you watching much of the Olympics with Snoop Dogg and who was it, Kevin Hart, just talking about what's going on, doing their commentating? They were pretty hilarious as a duo.
No, I actually didn't catch that.
They were super funny. I mean, Snoop Dogg, cool dude, for sure. And before we get into track, also want to know, what would you say is your favorite, let's do pre-race snack?
That's a good question. Anything with protein in it, like a protein bar, protein shake, and then some gummy worms. I always have gummy worms because I think like the sour gummy worms, those are good. And then I don't know, it's like a superstition for me. The sugar gets me like a little adrenaline rush. And then something with protein in it because I'm vegetarian, so I need that protein to go and kickstart the meat. So yeah.
Not bad. Yeah, I like I'm a gummy bears guy. So I like the Sour Harborough gummy bears. So I'm right there with you. And then if you could have dinner with any 3 people, alive or dead, what 3 people would you want to have dinner with?
I want to say Zendaya, J. Cole, and who would be the 3rd one? Probably like Oprah, because they're all 3 of them very inspirational, and I look up to them a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a 3. That's a good list. And you had that pretty quickly. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, give me a second. No, that was pretty quick. Not bad. Did you watch the new Spider-Man movie then yet with Zendaya or
No,
not
I didn't
yet?
actually. I'm gonna go this weekend, so I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I think I saw a few of them. I saw the No Way Home. I can't, all the names are, it's something home.
Yeah, like 1, 3, No Way Home, No Way Back Home, something like that.
Something about the home, but yeah, whichever one it was. Pretty good one. And then last one for you. You got a few different tattoos. What would you say is your favorite one that you have?
I would say I have a dragon on my thigh. I would say that's my favorite one, mostly because you can mainly see that one when I'm running or jumping. And yeah, and it's in red ink. So that would be my favorite one.
Pretty cool. And did you so was it like a last minute change, or did you always know you wanted that one in red compared to, black and
I've
gray?
always known I wanted that one in red because I saw an inspiration post on Pinterest and it was in black. And then I also saw another one in blue. And I was like, this will go hard in red. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it red for sure.
There we go. You have any future pieces that you're thinking about or planned out?
I am thinking about another piece on my arm, but I don't know yet. And the arm is like, well, like upper shoulder part, but that's like a big piece for me. So I'm like, let me get my head like for sure set before I get it.
Yeah, make sure you know exactly what it is that you want to get. Yeah, especially if it's going to be a big one for you.
Right.
But awesome. So, well, now I wanted to get started for you, like where track really began for, I guess, where you got started running and jumping. What got you interested in track and field when you were younger?
I actually started track and field when I was like 8 years old, and I started with my best friend. So it was like kind of like a friendship group type of thing. Like it was like really our parents, because our parents are all friends. So they're all like, hey, let's sign up our kids for track. That'd be fun type of thing. So then I did sign up, and like I was just naturally really good at like running. My mom always says like I would always like run away from her when I would get in trouble. So she was like, once I saw you run away from me that fast, I knew I had to put you in track.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was like the playground menace on, since I was just running around like my parents just like, yo, we got to get this guy into running, just
Right.
doing way too much stuff, just can't be stopped running around the playground out there for an extra like half hour doing whatever.
Right.
And so how was it a first love for you to pick out high jump in the hurdles, or was that something that you found out later on in life that you were interested in doing those two events?
It was actually something I found out later in life because unless it was like I did a lot of distance running, so I did 800, 1500, that type of stuff, or like 4x8. I didn't start narrowing it down until I got to high school, so that's when I started doing high jump, like taking it seriously. I did a little bit of high jump in elementary school / middle school, but that was with no coach, just messing around. They let me do it for like 3 meets out of like the whole season, and the season goes from like January all the way till summer, end of summer. So I wasn't really taking high jump that serious. I wanted to take it serious in high school, and it was my sophomore year. That's when I took it seriously. And even then, they still wouldn't let me high jump. They're like, "No, you're good at running. Stick to running." And I was like, okay. And then I want to say junior year was when I found out I was good at hurdles, because I was always against hurdles. Like even though I'm good at it, I never wanted to do hurdles. I was really afraid of falling. That's really why I didn't want to do hurdles. And I was like, Coach, I'm not doing hurdles. Like I practiced hurdles at practice, like every day. It was a part of our routine, but I never did it in a meet. But then one day he was like, okay, Rachel, you could either do the 2 mile or you could do hurdles. I was messing around and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the 2 mile, like calling his bluff. And then it was the 2 mile and he was like, all right, Rachel, get ready. I was like, you were serious? I was like, fine, I'll do hurdles. So then that was my first meet in doing hurdles. And I actually did pretty good. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll stick with it.
Yeah, that would be an easy way for me to do almost any other event also. It's like, all right, line up, you're doing the 2 miles. It's like, okay, what's my other option? Because whatever it is, I'm doing that. Like that's awful. So yeah, definitely makes sense. And then from when you said you started taking high jump really seriously your sophomore year, and you're coming out of California where track and field very competitive. It's one of the most competitive states, that probably Texas, Florida, New York, few of those states. And so when was it that when you were starting to beat a lot of those competitors in the state, that you were like, oh man, like not only am I good at this, but I can actually take this to the next level, get a scholarship, and can compete at in college at a high level?
Well, I want to say that was always a goal from the jump. I think it was started in middle school when my club coach was like, okay, Rachel, it was like, because I did tell you that I did a lot of distance running, but I hated doing distance running. So I wanted to quit track actually. But then my coach was like, my club coach, he said, Rachel, you really have to decide if you want to keep doing track or not, because really good, and it could get you a college scholarship. And that stuck in my head, and we had a deep, long conversation about it. So in high school, I decided to stick it out with track and like try my first year. And I was like, if I still don't like it my first year, then I'll quit. But they took me out a distance and let me do some 400s and 200s. So it was pretty cool, and I liked it. And then that was always the goal: get a college scholarship. I never wanted to be average, never wanted to be mediocre. My goal was always to be the best.
Yeah, and that's really a mindset that you have to have, especially if you want to be successful at the collegiate
Yeah.
level. Like if you're just someone like, oh yeah, just I want to get there, and when
Right.
we get there, it's fine. Like, well then that's all you're gonna
Right.
get.
And it's super easy for people to just be average and be fine with that. But I never saw any fun in being average.
Exactly. You you hit the nail right on the head for me. And so with that, you're going through your high school year. You've done very well. And then now let's just flash forward to, I guess, your junior year and towards the end of your senior season, when you're starting to get a lot of interest in different colleges. I mean, what's it like to be in that position? I mean, I was taking a look at the clip of you on your signing day, and I'm seeing like Oregon, USC, like Texas or whatever, like a whole bunch of these major schools are like, hey, we want you to sign here. What's it like being like going from this girl not too long ago, we're thinking about quitting the sport, to having these major universities like, we need you on our team right now?
It was actually super cool. My first letter, the college letter. Of course, you have like all the little schools that try and get at you first, but my first big college letter was from USC, and I was super excited. The one in California though, I was super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, they know who I am. Like I always told my coach about this. Like when I was receiving letters, I was like, oh my gosh, such and such knows who I am, or such and such said my name, da da da. And they're like, you're Rachel. Like, do you not know they know you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? But yeah, it was super cool. And then like people around my campus, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, Rachel, famous." Da, 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 da. Or they would be like joking around, but I'd be like, "I'm not famous. I'm like just Rachel." But of course, it's super cool to get letters from like the big schools, Oregon, Texas, UNLV, all those schools. It was like a cool experience.
And so then what was that final determination of why you were like, yeah, I want to go out to South Carolina? Was it kind of clear from the way out? I know you mentioned you saw some of the times from a former teammate of yours, but was it you kind of saw it, oh yeah, this is definitely what it is? Or was it something that kind of spurred on later on as you're doing some more diving into the school?
Sorry, hold on my computer.
You're good.
Can you still see me? Like,
Yeah, I can still see you. Yeah, you're good.
Um, hmm.
Can you hear me?
Okay, it's back. Sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
good to
Can you
go.
repeat your question really quickly?
Yeah. So, was it something that early on you really knew, like, okay, I want to go to South Carolina, or was that something later on in your recruiting process that it kind of spurred on later, and you're like, oh yeah, no, this is the right place for me?
It definitely spread on later because I was so confused, like not confused, but really just overwhelmed by all the colleges. I went on 7 different visits. That's how bad it was. Like I did not know what school I wanted to go to. Oh my gosh. But of course, my parents and my coaches helped me along the way, like big time. They helped me narrow down like a pros cons list and like, do you like the coaches? Do you like the team? Do you like the environment? And of course, they were telling me you have to look beyond on your visit because of course it's your visit. They're gonna throw out all the big ribbons and big flowers for you because of course they want you to go. You have to look beyond that and actually have conversations with the teammates, everybody, and like especially the coaches because these are the people you're going to be working with every day. So it really narrowed it down for me was the coaches, and then looking back on my visit, the people who were on my visit, they helped me decide my decision because they were really fun and we had like a similar energy. And then again, the coach, he reminded me of my high school coach. So I was like similar environment, really friendly. So that's what made my final decision.
7 visits is insane. Like,
Yeah.
I went,
Cool though.
yeah, I went on 4 and I thought like, okay, I'm exhausted. And just hearing 7, I'm like, wait, I was just barely halfway done. You get the official ones, the unofficial, like That's a lot. So that you
Yeah. But I
probably
like to travel, so the traveling was really fun for me.
okay. Yeah. So at least you did get to do some cool, and you also get to miss a couple days of school too, probably. So
Yeah.
that's not that bad. But so this year, or I guess this past year, you had your first season with the Gamecocks. Indoors, you get second place. I know obviously you want to be the best, but still coming in and getting second place. What was it like to see like, oh wow, like I can be competitive in this thing
Mhm.
really early on when you're still going up against some of the top jumpers in the entire country?
I knew that that would happen. I'm not sure. I think it was like a Florida meet when I went like 6'2", and I didn't even know the height. They just kept going up, raising the bar, and I didn't really know the height for real. And then I jumped like 6'2", and I made it over. And then I looked at my coach, and she's like freaking out, and everybody's all excited. And I'm like, what height was that? Like, I was still calm. Like, I was like, what's going on? And then they told me like what height it was and all that stuff. They're like, you just broke the school record, da da da. And I was like, really? Because I was the only one left in the competition, so it was really like a chill meet. Like, and there was not a lot of people because there were no running events going on. So it was like chill vibes. Like, it wasn't really hype, or the energy wasn't like super up there. So it was just kind of like a getting over the bar, doing regular routine stuff. So it was really crazy. And then when I got second indoor, I don't want to say I was doubting myself because I always know that I'm like great and my potential could be up there. But second place, I was like, I'm up there, up there. My expectations was like, okay, get top 5, top 7 maybe. I was like top 2, and then I was like, okay, Rachel, okay. And I was like, okay, let's see what we can do outdoor.
So how did that momentum kind of move into you then later on that competition? You're in the 4x4 and
Yeah.
you get seventh place there, which
Mhm.
is, I mean, did that help you move your motivation, or were you kind
Oh
of
yeah.
dreading like, oh man, I'm not trying to do this right now?
No. I was definitely hyped for the 4x4 because I love running the 4x4. I was super hyped because I was like, okay, I just got second place. My coach hyped me up. Everybody, my teammates hyped me up when I go back to the tent. They're like, yeah, go Rachel. So we're like, okay, let me switch my spikes. Get ready for the 4x4. Get the baton and everything. So in my head, I'm super hyped. I'm like, we're about to go crazy. So we get on the line. I see my teammate coming up, and then I get the baton. So I'm just super excited during the whole thing. Like, the adrenaline is up there.
That has to be a pretty crazy feeling, just going
Yeah.
from one thing to another, and doing well in that as well.
Yeah.
And the 4x4 high jump combo, not very common in track
Yeah.
and field, at least at the collegiate level. You might be one of the, you can probably count on one hand how many people in a Power 5 position are doing that at a high level. What's
Right.
it like? What's the practices looking like where you're doing hurdles, 400, as well as high jump, all in the same thing, and at a high level? So like, what are your practices kind of looking like there?
My coaches do a really good job at actually balancing it out. So I'll have like one day when I do jumps, then I'll have one day when I have hurdle practice, and then the rest of the week I'll either have a rest day or running days. So they do a pretty good job at evening it out.
Yeah, because that can become a lot, or being like trying to be best of the best in both of those, or in all the things,
Right.
can be tough. But yeah, good to hear that the coaching staff's helping it out for sure.
Mhm.
And so then you follow up your performance from indoors to winning high jump outdoors. Now, obviously, you mentioned that you're confident in yourself, you're confident in your abilities, you know how well you can do. But
Yeah.
then, what was that feeling of when you cleared that bar and you're like, oh man, I'm the national champion. Like, I've actually done this as a freshman.
Yeah. It was super crazy because usually I try and not look at the bar, not look at when they raise the bar, because that'll like psych myself out. So in my head, I'm like, okay, they just raised it to 5'2", even though it's like 6'4" or something like that. But then this meet, I was like, they kept announcing it, or the bar is getting raised to da da da. So it was like hard to ignore because obviously they're saying it out loud. So I was like, oh my gosh, 6'4", and it was only down to me and the girl from Texas A&M. I forgot her name, but she
Giddy?
was
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, she was really good competition too, and it was down to me and her. And then I made it over my second attempt, first attempt. I'm not sure. It was one of the two. But then it was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, right before I jumped, I had to take a deep breath, measure out my steps, make sure I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then jump super hard. And I was like, just jump super hard. If all else fails, just jump super hard. And then I did, and I made it over. And I literally looked at the crowd first because that's where my coaches and my teammates were. And I was like, I did it. And then I ran to my coach on the other sideline, and I was like, did you see that? I did it. It was super crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't pick a better day to have a personal best. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to be, really, really one of the best things there. And I can't remember because it's been so long. Was that one of the days where it was like 1,000,000 degrees out, or was that?
I think it was, because I remember like the whole week it was raining and super cold, and then that one day it was like super hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember because I remember it was like super crazy hot one day. So yeah, on top of that, adding another thing into that. And so after your competition, you mentioned in an interview that you want it to be the best and you want people to know your name. And like we've mentioned earlier, you talked about how you don't want to be average. You want to be one of the top level competitors. I mean, what's kind of gone behind you growing as an athlete that has built that mindset of I'm not here to compete, I'm here to win?
It's really just the inspiration from my parents, and then my religion. I'm a Christian, so it's really me and God in this. And of course, I look up to my idols, and like you watch them on TV and you watch them on Instagram or like Twitter, and you see them doing all these amazing things. And you're like, that's gonna be me. I want to do that too. So you just work super, super hard at not being mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would you say are some of those people that you've looked up to, whether it be athletes or different celebrities or whoever it might be, to get that type of mindset of, I want to be the best to do it?
Yeah. Growing up, I watched a lot of Allison Felix, Michael Norman, Ry Benjamin, Sydney McLaughlin. Now she just killed the hurdle record, and I was like, oh my gosh, praise you. Vashti Cunningham, super good high jumper also. But mainly, like, someone who really inspires me is Kobe Bryant. Like, if you watch his interviews, he is determined to the game. Like, he's driven to the core with his game. Like, he'll be up at like 5 a.m, not even because he has to practice. That's just enjoyable for him. Like, he'll like having practice. Like, there was one interview, and it was like an all-star team event or something like that. And it was like 6 a.m, and they were eating team breakfast. And then I think it was, I don't know who it was, but they were like, his teammates was like, what are you doing up so early? And he was like, oh, I just got done finishing my second workout. And everybody was like, your second workout at 6 a.m, you're done? And he was like, yeah, like it was just easy for him. Like, he was dedicated to the game, to the core. Like, if you watch his interviews, I even just recently bought his book. So I'm gonna read that. His mindset is crazy compared to everyone else's.
Yeah, I actually have it right over here, actually, on my shelf. Yeah, it's right next to my AI book. Yeah, so I'm from Philly, and so he was a big thing because he went to the same high school, not my same high school, but a rival high school of mine.
Oh,
And so everyone knows
right.
Kobe Bryant in my area. Like, my brother played basketball against him in high school. Like, it's like he's a world renowned name. And so yeah, that Mamba mentality of I'm
Yeah.
going to be better than you. Like,
Yeah, like he's so confident in his game, so confident. Like, I admire that about him, because of course a lot of people have their self doubts. I feel like he had no self doubt at all. He puts in all the effort, so he's just gonna beat you because he puts in like 10 times more effort than you. So I'm trying to get my mindset like that. So he, of course, inspires me so much.
yeah, it's like I'm just gonna work harder than you.
Right.
There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing that you can do to beat me.
Exactly. Everybody would be scared of like Michael Jordan, and he was like, "Oh, that's just another competition, easy."
Yeah, it's like whatever, just another dude. Well, we got a game. I'll compete. And doing
Exactly.
2 practices before like an all-star game. Like, who's doing that? It's
Right.
just show up. What are you doing all that for?
Exactly.
And so then after that, you have one of your highest highs right there in the NCAA's PR. You get the win, and then a few weeks later, competing at your first Olympic trials, you did well, not as well as I'm sure as you would like to, because obviously you want to compete. But what was that experience like? Then right after going to NCAA's, going right back to Eugene and competing at the Olympic trials there.
That was like a surreal experience. It was amazing. Everybody that I've always watched on TV were right in front of me. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I was like, thinking in my head, this is real, this is serious. I was like, it's game on for real, for real. And it was super crazy. It was really exciting to see all the celebrities or track world celebrities and all the superstars in there. And I was like, I'm up here. I'm here. Like, I was like, this is an accomplishment itself that I'm actually here and I get to compete. And then I finished top 6. So I was really proud of myself. Out of, I think there's like 20, 30 girls. So I think I ended off the season pretty well, even though
Yeah.
I didn't do as well as I wanted to do.
Yeah, everyone who doesn't want to win and be
Exactly.
there, but yeah, to say like, hey, yeah, I'm a freshman in college and was able
Right.
to compete in the at the Olympic trials and make it to the final. That's pretty awesome in itself.
Yeah.
And so, like you mentioned just before the show, you're actually, well, by the time this comes out, you'll probably be competing in high jump. You might have your warm-up spikes on by the time this releases. So good luck to you in the next few minutes. But what are you looking forward to this season as you're getting your your high jump and your sprinting season starting here?
This year I want to get my name more out there. So if that means breaking records, going crazy in all of my events, just I need my name to be known, and I need my name to be. They need to take it like seriously. Like when I step on the track, they need to be like, "Oh, that's Rachel." So I'm hoping to do super good in all my events. Of course, PR, but I just want to exceed my PR. Like go crazy. Even just like I just need to go crazy this season.
How have you been feeling with your not warm-ups, I'm sorry, with your practices that you've done so far? So you've had your fall training, you're finishing up your winter training right now. Like, yeah, you want to, it's like, okay, I made a good splash my first freshman year. Like now it's that sophomore season. Like I really want to break out. Like, how have you been feeling leading up to things so far with now the year just a few, just very, very close?
I feel super confident actually in this season because I've been hitting the weight room more, so I feel even stronger, especially on the track. Every athlete has that like last 50-meter lactic acid that they feel. So I've been working on that, and I've been improving way more than I did last year. So I can tell my physical strength is a lot stronger. So I'm super ready for the season.
Yeah, excited to see you compete as well. And before we go, had one last question for you off the track. So on your bio, you have, I think is it track god fashion? I
Yeah.
can't remember the exact order, but wanted to touch on the fashion a little bit. Favorite brand, like clothing brand, or just like fit to wear? Like what's the go-to, if there was like how in the NBA they have the pregame fits and
Yeah.
you're walking around with the best fit, what would be yours? Like the best fit?
I would probably have on something super cute and comfortable. So probably like a crop top and some sweatpants with like some fly shoes, like some Jordans or something. But like my favorite, yeah, that would be my favorite outfit, like going anywhere, like a crop top with some sweatpants, fly Jordans, and then like a hat or maybe like your hair down, something like that with some cool accessories. And then you have the gyp set. But if you're going out like on a date, then I love to get sets from Fashion Nova. They have the cutest sets. Like I have a picture on my Instagram. I have a red top with a red skirt, and it's super cute. I'm really one for sets, so yeah, those are my top 2 favorite like types of fashion type outfits to wear.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that at all, for sure. But Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great talking with you. Where could people go if they wanted to learn more about you, on or off the track?
You guys can follow my Instagram. I don't know if he's gonna put it like in the video or the link, but Rachel Glenn _. But instead of the A on Rachel, it's an X. So, but just type in Rachel Glenn _ it should pop up.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for everyone who's been listening. This has been another episode of Track World News. If you're interested in more content, go and follow us on Instagram at Track World News. We post different clips, highlights, a whole bunch of things over there. And make sure that you leave a like and a review here. I really do appreciate it. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Hey.
Wait.